Mars-Neptune aspect in your horoscope. And there are two types of aspect, the easy one and the hard ones. The easy ones are the trine, the sextile, and the more tense and more intense ones, more strongly felt and more difficultly expressed, are the conjunction, the opposition, and the square. And if you don't know if you have this aspect and whether it's a good one or a more difficult one, you can find out by going to my birth chart calculator, AstroLada.com, for which I'm putting a link here. Enter your details. You don't need to know the time of your birth. And go to the planetary detail table and just give me the degree and the sign of both your Neptune and both your Mercury and both your Mars. And I'll tell you if you have a Mars-Neptune aspect and whether it's the easy or the more difficult ones. The difference between the easy and more difficult ones is that the easy ones, usually a person has learned the lessons in past lives of those two energies, and they already manifest them without any effort. It comes to them naturally, particularly the positive manifestation of this energy, while the hard aspect, the people make more mistakes. It can create more troubles in their life while they're trying to express the archetype of this energy. So let's speak about what it means. First of all, what is Mars? Mars is masculinity. Mars is strength. Mars is power. Mars is the physical body. And Neptune, one of the meanings of Neptune is idealization. So people who have Neptune-Mars aspect, the hard or the easy ones, they usually idealize the notion of a strength. They idealize the notion of a beautiful body. They idealize the notion of Mars as a male planet, of basically a hero who comes and saves others, someone who fights for the underdog. They have such idealistic understandings as well that, they want to fight for the underdog, help the weaker ones. And that's why a lot of actually, this combination is met in a lot of actors or public figures, which which personify this the society's ideals of strength, of manhood, of competition. So it's made in a lot of sports figures, to be honest, because they reflect. Neptune is the collective unconscious, and Mars is the strength, power, competition, sports, energy. So the collective, these people become like reflectors, like they become the representative of those ideals of strength and manliness of other people. That's why it's made in a lot of glamorous sports figures, like Schumacher, for example. I don't know many sports figures, so I couldn't check their horoscopes, but I know there are a lot. And like movie actors and actresses and dancers, famous dancers like Paula Abdul, Carmen Electra have this combination because Mars is physical movement and Neptune refines whatever it touches. So it can really give a refinement to the physical movement, to them, because Mars rules like kind of dance and energetic activities. And Neptune is kind of an artistic planet, is fine arts planet, is refining planet. So it gives more inspiration, flow, and glamorization of the physical actions, so of the dance. Michael Jackson had I think a wide opposition as well. So people who can dance usually have an aspect between those planets. And people who can act, because Mars is the planet of action, and Neptune is the planet of higher artistic manifestation, of drama, of taking other roles of other people, because Neptune is like a sponge. So these people can, in action, in film particularly, in drama, they can really soak up the behaviors of the hero they're trying to present. And usually they're drawn to more action-oriented roles. Actually, everyone who has Neptune aspects can be very good representative of fine arts, music, dance, artistic expression. But Mars and Neptune in particular, there are quite a few actors, in particular actors who play like action figures, like Tom Cruise has the opposition. Uma Thurman, they're like heroes that go and save someone. This is the Mars energy. Neptune is this idealized image of the male energy, of the masculine energy, of the hero. Any kind of situations or careers where there is someone is going to be a hero, like sports, glamour sports, or like movies. Tom Cruise has it, Uma Thurman has it. How many more people have it? Ryan Gosling has it. Another Robert Pattinson has it. So they're like kind of ideal. Rafael Nadal, the sports, the tennis guy has this aspect. So they become like iconic glamour figures of competition, of male strength, of heroes. And usually in the movies it's seen most easily. And even if you're a normal person with this combination, it's good to give yourself some outlet of this energy of Mars, because Mars is energy, some kind of a more refined outlet, like artistic hobbies, like creative hobbies, like drama, like fine arts, like dancing probably. And a lot of people, interestingly enough, with Neptune Mars, because Neptune is glamorization and idealization, and Mars is the physical body, they tend to idealize strong physical body and masculinity, so they tend to do bodybuilding. And even I have the easy aspect, so I used to do this. And because they have this idealized image, if you're a woman with Neptune Mars, you tend to idealize such men. You tend to be attracted to idealized male appearance, physical, or even to the types that a hero, like a knight in shining armor, the fairy tale prince. Prince Charming is the Neptune Mars combination. Such women have such idealization of the man they want. They keep dreaming. The easy aspect, it's more easy. They can accept reality, so they can daydream from time to time from such a person. Or they can even accept that the person they are with is their Prince Charming, and they can get to experience this. While the hard aspect, they're like kind of less satisfied. They idealize too much, and when reality hits them, they cannot accept the grotesqueness of the reality, the mundaneness of a male partner, for example, who doesn't live up to the ideals of savior, of hero, of Prince Charming in a sense. So it can be harder for those women with the harder aspect, while with the easy aspect, they still will daydream a lot about an idealistic man, and they'll kind of, they can lose their head a lot for even for actors, for such glamorous star figures, or someone that they idealize. They're like very romantic. They're very romantic, very dreamy about sexual relationships and the type of Prince Charming and hero and savior and strong who protects the weak. But anyway, we're talking that there are a lot of people who work out with this to men or women, and also Neptune is water, and Mars is war and soldiers, so often Marines. People who go into the Marines have Neptune Mars aspect, or women who like the Marines, or men who work at sea, or seamen, they have Neptune Mars aspect. But anyway, so those people, they might glamorize the masculine, the strength, and they try to project it. They try to give the illusion by working out. But if they have Neptune Mars, often they have inner doubt of expressing this masculinity, because Neptune is dissolving. So if they glamorize this thing, because Neptune is glamorizing, they glamorize strength and masculinity and muscle body and virility and willpower and competition, and they even might daydream of winning something or competing about something. But when it comes to actually doing it, there might be a lot of self-doubt. Or if someone attacks them, or if someone kind of comes on strong onto them, Neptune can create inner fears and doubts, because it dissolves. It's not, Neptune really much weakens Mars, and they can project an image which is delusional of strength and power and assertiveness and even physical strength. But when they get attacked or something which requires Mars, which requires self-assertion, which requires competing or getting yourself organized and doing some actions, they might retreat, because they might feel a bit, doubtful or unclear about their own strength. So in moments so they can look like those strong and glamorous people on the outside, and like women can get attracted to such men, or if the woman has Neptune Mars, she can keep attracting these men that they look ideal, and when she gets to be with them, it turns out that he's an alcoholic, or he has some inherent weakness within themselves, so confusion about his activities and where he wants to be in, and his masculinity, something undermining his masculinity, especially if it's the hard aspect Neptune or Mars. So such a woman can attract such men, so basically men who she needs to save, who she needs to give direction to, even though initially they look like Prince Charming, like the ideal image to her, and when she gets to be in such a relationship, she realizes there's something that's undermined in their strength, which is a little bit confused, because Neptune is fog. Imagine putting a warrior, which is Mars, in a fog, and that's particularly true for the hard aspects, and this warrior just doesn't know what to fight. he might look very strong and he might give the illusion of strength, but he's fighting with chimeras, he's fighting with the air, you know, with fog. So it's kind of, there's confusion that comes to those people as to what actions to take in their life. And particularly because Mars is this organizing energy that gives you focus into action, into do something, and Neptune is this dissolving energy. They can be easily, if they don't have their own plan, an action plan, or if they don't have their own goals that they're following and clarity, if they're more confused, they can easily be seduced, those people with Neptune, Mars, into fulfilling others' goals and others' projects, especially if those goals and projects offer some kind of promise of glamorous lifestyle later, or they sound glamorous. So often Mars-Neptune people, in the extreme case, the difficult aspects in particular, can be seduced into furthering others' goals, which might not be even legal, like someone getting into a gang member, becoming drug dealer, or you know, doing something dangerous for another person, or just running, or just doing things which look seducing and glamorous for another person, for forwarding another person's agenda, so to speak. So it's good sometimes for these people to ask for advice in regards to how to put into their energy into something. It's good to ask for a second opinion, because they might be easily seduced or confused into what direction to put it. So that's one of the dangers, you know, that's one of the combinations. And also Mars is this ability to assert yourself, to say what you want and to go get it. And Neptune, you know, kind of washes it out. So such people might, you know, when they want something, they might feel frustrated, or if they get angry, instead of shouting or doing something, they might feel helpless and might start crying. They start feeling emotional, because Neptune dissolves this ability to act, you know, just like the strong guy who is very strong, and when someone comes to aggress him, he runs away, you know. It can be one of those things, because Neptune gives the ideal, the image of, the glamorized image of strength of Mars, but actually within its, Mars is undermined, Mars's qualities are undermined. So that this is why it can be misleading, you know. So such people have to be, you know, there is often with Neptune Mars, because they're too sensitive, instead of asserting things, they can retreat, so they're not in an argument, or that they can, you know, instead of, sorry, just a second, let me, So it's kind of hard for them, self-defense. It might be very hard for them to do self-defense. They might be incapable of that. And they might be passive-aggressive because of that. Kind of a bit of a masochistic inclinations, you know. I have this, so yeah, for sure I can say this, even though mine is the easy aspect. But definitely passive-aggressive tendency there. And difficulty and too much sensitivity, or an inability to express anger, their own anger. And usually such a person, because they're not able to express this, Neptune diffuses and distills this Mars, or they get either emotional, or they suppress it, they make it internal, so they can attract this aggression from outside. So they can often, especially the hard aspect, can become victims of violence, or can become victims of abuse from the outside, because they suppress it within. They cannot express their own assertion and self-defense, so they can get this Mars, because Neptune diffuses it in them, so they get it from outside. So often these people might be put in such situations of victimhood, where they're led on by someone, where they're misled by someone, when they're taken advantage by someone, or in the extreme cases some kind of abuse or being pushed around, you know. But why does this happen for them? Because the real strength for Neptune Mars people does not lie in the physical, does not lie in their machoniness, does not lie in strong self-assertion, in the typical manifestation of Mars, which is physical strength and which is going and getting there and competing. The real strength of Mars-Neptune people lies in their compassion, in their imagination, in their kindness, you know, in their sensitivity. So they can win others through their compassion and sensitivity. Especially if the aspect is really close between Mars and Neptune, and there is no other stronger aspect. So such people, direct confrontation for them can be harmful. but also bottling the feelings and the anger and the energy of Mars too deep, it can fire back as they attract anger and from outside, and eventually this kind of a contradictory situation will push them to understand that they can win battles by the refined energies of Neptune, which is compassion, by helping others, by pacifism in a sense, by even being a little bit more, not direct, but more through psychic methods, let's say, through psychological psychic methods, by disarming and enchanting the others. Neptune's word is enchanting, seducing. So these people can seduce the enemy. They can seduce and charm another person, and especially if it's about personal battles that they're leading, personal competitive things. But also another thing is that aggressors, which are indicated by Mars, and competitors, they can be very seductive. So this can be the person who is in a situation where the aggressor or someone abuser is very seductive. So they find it hard. The Neptune-Mars person might find it hard to, to extricate themselves from such an enchanting abuser, to such a seducing abuser, So there is this kind of, especially with the hard aspect, the easy aspect, these people are able to, these themes can come to them in their life. With the easy aspect, always these themes will still come to them, but they recognize them very quickly, and they're able to turn them around for positive very quickly, and they realize what their strengths are. There's not so much confusion there. Anyway, so this is another thing they have to be careful with. But if they learn to, they themselves are very enchanting and very seducing. Who has this combination very close? Bill Clinton has it. Enchanter, seducer. A lot of media personalities have this. And the best way is, again, not through battle. And there is the tendency for lying as well sometimes with Mars-Neptune. Just like with strong Neptune aspects a lot, there is like tendency, particularly Mars-Neptune, there is a thing there to be kind of misleading. Sometimes even the person doesn't do it on purpose to lie, but they can be misleading. They give off one image, but actually inside they're not so much like what they present. Okay, and let's see, what else is Mars? Mars is sex. So what is this sex life like? Well, it's refined. It's more idealized. It might be sometimes platonic. These people might daydream about someone else without having to have the physical interaction to start feeling very sexually turned on. These people might be even seduced by by media representation of sex, like, I don't know, like maybe watching porn or something. But it's not going to be so rough. It's going to be more, in some way, usually more refined, unless the aspect is hard, then it can be, But it's Neptune-Mars, there's usually more spiritualization, idealization about the process of love-making. Anything rough, too animalistic might be off-putting for them. And they have vivid imagination when it comes to sexual life, and they might idealize that the sex act should be this beautiful, ideal thing, that should be this pure thing, and when it comes to it, they find out it's quite dirty, it's kind of not so refined, like Neptune is refined, higher vibration. So they need to experiment more, they need to try different things till they find their best sexual manifestation. And people with the hard aspect might find it hard to feel satisfied with their current partner sexually because they idealize too much. They have too many high ideals about what is, what the sex act should be like. But the people with the easy aspect, they might still idealize it and have a more refined and idealistic ideas of the sex act, but they can find satisfaction with the current partner. So that's the difference between the two of them. So the Neptune-Mars, some of them might, the hard aspect might be thinking the grass is green. On the other side, sexually, there's always someone, superwoman or superman, that can satisfy them sexually. And for them, sexual activity is not just like, get it on together, let's procreate. It's a mystical, especially for more refined Mars-Neptune people, it's a mystical experience. It's an experience of merging, of oneness, of reaching God through it. And they crave and yearn and long for this mystical experience in sex, for this high level, losing yourself, merging with the other in one, joining God while being in sexual intercourse. This very high-minded expectations. And they can achieve it. the hard and the easy aspect, they can have such mystical experiences through sex as well. A certain period in their life, they can, you know. So that's in one side it's hard because these people, you know, they have too many high expectations. And like, imagine if I'm a woman, I have this, and you're a normal man, and I expect to merge with you and reach God on the first time we have intercourse. I'll be disappointed if you don't do it, and you'll be like overwhelmed. What happened? You did your best, and I was still, you know, it wasn't a wow experience. But on the other hand, by practice, by whatever, you know, whenever the time is right, these people can actually experience this deep intensity of merging with another person, of connecting to God through the sexual experience, and this is something others might not be able to do. And they're very good lovers overall because they're adaptable. Neptune dissolves the boundaries between two and makes sexual more of a spiritual experience, and particularly men with Mars-Neptune, they can be great lovers because they sense intuitively, because Neptune is this intuitive planet, what the other person needs sexually, and they can just give you just that. Like Mars, like men who have Mars in Pisces, is very similar influence. They can be great lovers, very sensitive, attuned to your needs psychically without you telling them. They just know what to do, how to kiss you, how to, and don't give them rough sex. You know, these people like the more romantic, more kind of glamorized version of it. Even if they watch porn, it will be a glamorized porn. And again, let's repeat, those Mars-Neptune people are like reflectors of the society's sexual, because Mars is sex, sexual desires. That's why there are a lot of sex icons have that. A lot of very seductive sports and actor people of the society's longing for heroes and for perfection and for Prince Charming and for perfect physical body and for perfect manifestation of heroes and and at their best, let's say, for the normal people, they're very seductive and all, but they might be seduced themselves into doing agenda of other people, and especially it might be a bad agenda of other people that promises glamorous things. But the good thing is that those people win through compassion, through their imagination, not through direct competition so much, compassion, imagination, seducing in a sense, and that and also, let's see, that the strength might be illusionary outside, but you know, inside they might be unsure about their focus and about their strength. So this is where their strength is a more refined way, and that those people often have to have some involvement with photography, with art, with fashion, with fine art, with dancing as well, because Neptune is the fine arts, is the high inspiration and artistic, creative activities, and Mars is action. So these people can vent off and can vent off a lot of negative energy and a lot of anger or a lot of frustration through such kind of hobbies, whether they go to drama, whether they do photography. They have a great eye for those kind of more artistic, refined activities. So I think, let me see if I've missed something. And there might be difficulty in asserting themselves, so they have to be careful that they don't internalize it too much, or suppress it, fully becoming, masochistic and passive-aggressive. But to be sensitive towards their own needs and towards others, and through compassion and through imagination and more subtle ways to assert themselves and to do the things they want, Okay, there is nothing. Mars is the planet which rules our ability to fight off diseases. Mars is the soldiers or the red blood cells or whatever that fights off disease. And when Mars is weakened by Neptune, Neptune is bacterial as well. Neptune is very watery, so such people are much more susceptible to colds, to flus, to kind of some mysterious illnesses as well, or sometimes even autoimmune illnesses because of anger which has been forwarded inside or hasn't been expressed. So they can become, in the worst extreme cases, their health problems like psychosomatic problems. They're usually problems of of wrongly channeled Mars energy, which is the masculine energy, which is the assertive energy, but there is definitely a weakened with the hard aspect in particular, not with the easy aspect, but with the hard aspect there is like a weakened ability to fight off disease and getting more colds and things like that. Okay, so I think that's it. Yes, so yeah, very romantic in sexual relationship, idealistic when it comes to that. So thank you very much, and please write to me.